session on business analytics by IntellIpaat. So business analytics is an umbrella term which covers a lot of different job roles, and it was adopted by almost all of the industries in the 21st century. So this term which has a lot of impacts on the business right now, right? So this has a huge impact on the businesses because it helps them identify their shortcomings and bridge those gaps and improve their overall performances as an organization. May it be your software industry, healthcare industry, supply chain, you name it. Each and every field has started adopting business analytics in order to be a better organization today, and hence we'll be discussing about this in today's session. But before we get into all of that, please subscribe to our channel to never miss an update from IntellIpaat. Now, without wasting further time, let's talk about today's agenda. So today's agenda is fivefold and very straightforward. So we'll be starting off with a brief introduction to business analytics. From there, we'll move on and talk about what is a business analytics process, what is the flow of this business analytics, how it is done in organizations, what is the proper step-by-step flow. We'll be discussing in that section, and then we'll move on and talk about what are the career prospects in the business analytics sector. So what are the job roles that you are looking at, which companies are hiring, what is the average salary, and all of that will be there in the third section. And whatever we discuss in the third section, we'll talk about how you can get those jobs in the fourth section. So we'll be displaying the salary and the good companies, and we'll tell you what are the skills required to get in those companies in the fourth section. And in the fifth section, we'll talk about how you can learn more about how you can become business analysts or other roles in this field for that matter. So that will be that. And there is another sixth hidden section which is exclusively for the people who are joining us on webinar. So we will be having a Q&A section where we'll be taking all of your doubts one by one on our webinar exclusively. So if you want to join us there, I would like to request the person handling the chat right now to put down the webinar link down right now, so you can join us there and ask all of your doubts one by one and get clarified. So that is about the agenda, guys. I hope this is very clear to you. So without wasting any further time, let's just begin with this session. So introduction to business analytics. But before we dive into business analytics, we must understand what is analytics on its own, right? So what is analytics? So business analytics is a very simple term which is made up of two words. One is business, one is analytics. And if you understand both of these terms, you are pretty much clear about what it means. Let's talk about what is analytics. So basically, analytics refers to the process of working with data and trying to find out very valuable insights from that data by applying some statistical models or manipulating that data in some form or the other, and finding that insights and then finding ways to bridge those gaps using those insights. So let me give an example to make things more clear. So there are various different kinds of analytics that you can do, right? So there could be different kinds of problems that a company may be facing. So it depends on the company to company what kind of problems they may be facing. Let's say if there is a company that is struggling with sales, so they want to find out why they are losing the opportunities, what kind of opportunities they are losing. They can find that out by doing business analytics. Let's say if there is some company who is going to launch a product in the market and is looking for funding, they might be looking into their sales forecast and trying to get probable investors and trying to find out what should be the basic price point of the product that they are going to put into the market. So if you are launching a new product, you have to do a lot of research and find out different insights as to what price point may work, doing what kind of marketing, what kind of branding would work. That is also a part of business analytics. Let's say if there is another kind of a company which is a good company, but they don't understand why so many employees are leaving them. If they cannot find out, they may be doing business analytics to find out what triggers that employee attrition rate and how they can maybe find ways to fix it, right? So there are different kinds of analytics that we are doing in these kinds of questions, right? So that's why there are different kinds of analytics that a company does with respect to businesses. To put it into broad terms, we'll be doing basically three kinds of analytics. You can define them into more kinds, but broadly you can classify them into three different kinds, which is pretty much straightforward. So the first one is the descriptive analysis. So this basically, whenever you are solving the questions like what was the sales like, so whenever you are talking about some incident that happened in the past and you want to get summary of what happened in the past, then you are looking into the descriptive analytics kind. So this is basically would be like what was the sales figure in, let's say, 2019, and what was the some of the opportunities that a company lost. So this would be, let's say, proper leads generated which were not converted. They want to find out what was that, and they want to turn it into percentages and look at those things. So that would be descriptive analysis. Then there is the other kind, which is the predictive analysis. Now, in this one, as the name suggests, pretty much straightforward, that you will be forecasting data for the future. So this would be the same example as a lot of companies do it. So they project numbers, right? So we would be, let's say, we will do 5 million worth of sales in the next year. So they do this. This is not just a vague guess. They do analytics on the basis of what has been so far, what has been the trend with respect to their products, how their products are doing in different sections, which market sector will give them more income and more revenue. Based on those things, and you can find out what could be the forecast for the future. So if you want to find out what is going to be happening to the future, if you are looking for the questions whose answer lie in the future, so what will be it like in, let's say, time X, then we are looking at predictive analysis. Then there is another third kind of analysis, which is a mix and match of both of these. So you take both of these into accounts and you find out the third kind of analytics, which is relatively new in the market, and it is called as the prescriptive analytics. So in prescriptive analytics, this is all about finding the right path, right? So a lot of companies have a lot of different kinds of problems, right? So what would be the proper flow of things, or the proper path to execute, or proper methods to go by in order to solve those problems, and what would be the effect like? So let's say if I have a problem X, there could be, let's say, n number of solutions to my problem. Now in those n numbers, following which method, so the solution will have some particular things, right? So let's say if my employees, a lot of employees are leaving, so there could be different ways to retain my employees, right? It could be giving more hikes, giving more bonuses, giving more leaves, and what would their impact be, and what is their effectiveness, and all of that could be calculated when we are talking about in prescriptive analysis. It could be for some other kinds of things as well. So let's say if we are a supply chain company and we are finding that our delivery mechanism, the way we are trying to deliver the products right now, is not actually perfect, and it's bringing us a lot of loss. So we look into the past data, then we look at the future data, which would be this will be the amount of demands that we are expecting from this particular society. And maybe what we can do is maybe open different kinds of stores nearby, different execution units, taking their cost into accounts, and then telling out, if we follow these parameters and if we follow this method, this might be the probable outcome. So finding out or suggesting different kinds of solution, different pathways to the solution, comes under prescriptive analysis. So these are the three kinds of analytics. When you combine all of these three, you come into business analytics. So pretty much straightforward, right? So business analytics basically refers to a discipline that involves identifying business requirements and providing solutions to meet that requirements. Now, it could be of any kind, right? So it depends on business to business of what kinds of problems that they are facing. So every analytics that you do with respect to your business requirements is termed as business analytics. It could be your software system development. So if when you have a software team, there will be one set of people who are responsible to talk to the people in the design team, and one will be responsible for talking to the product team, one will be talking to stakeholders, and there are people who are developing the software. So these people bridge those gaps. So how their software should work and different things like that. It could be analyzing the user patterns. Okay, the user likes this kind of layout much better than this one. My user wants to click here more often. Then basically that would be something in with respect to the software development. Then there is process improvement. So if, let's say, I am doing certain kind of manufacturing and I am sourcing my raw materials, but the way that I am doing it, I might find that this if I do something else, it would be better. May it not seem, but statistically it looks better, so it might be. So you find those things and you fill those gaps and you improve the entire process of doing something inside of your business. It could be another kind of business analytics problem that you might be solving. Then there is strategic planning. So you look at the past data, then you predict the future. Okay, this might be the number of orders that might coming on a weekend and on a weekdays, and based on that you make those plannings and you make different adjustments based on that. So that could be another part of it. There could be policy development. There is a lot of huge scope, because almost in every organization you can improve in some way or the other, right? So it doesn't matter which industry you are in. It could be the software industry, it could be the supply chain, it could be in the manufacturing industry. Everywhere people need these people who are doing analytics to find out what they can do to improve their business, and that is what basically business analytics is. So let's talk about the business analytics process. So far we have discussed different kinds of analytics which are out there. So we discussed three kinds, and we talked about what is business analytics, right? So there is a certain way that every company approaches these business analytics problem, right? So there has to be a certain methodology when you are working in any organization. The things have to be systematic, the same things have to be organized. There has to be step by step action in order to lead fruitful results. Similar to if you would have studied about in software development, if you talk about different kinds of models of software development. So there are different ways people try to develop softwares, and what you don't want is a messy system which is unorganized. So what you want is a step by step action, so that everyone is clear about what is going on, and in every step of the way you try to minimize the mistakes as much as possible, so that everyone is clear about what they are doing. Once it is established that this is the problem and this is the way we're going to implement and this is the solution, so you take it step by step by step, so that the end result what you get is most optimized in the way that it is more accurate to solving your problem, and it does not have gaps which you have left because of being unorganized, because you've looked at every step properly and basically found out how the solution should work, right? So similarly in business analytics also, we follow some certain kinds of principles and in terms of the process. So let me guide you through these processes one by one by one. So the first one is the business analytics, framing the business problem. So the first step is framing the business problem. So it is as the name suggests. So this is the first thing that you do everywhere, right? So if we are facing some problem in my business, I frame, my stakeholders will tell me, or somebody else on the team will tell me, okay, this is the problem. So even before you begin to analyze what your problem might be, you want to know what the problem is, right? So you try to understand what is the problem and what is the impact of this problem and what is the end result that you are trying to achieve. So that is what is formulated in the first one. So somebody from your business team or your managing team or somebody will be looking at these things like, okay, I don't think that my entire supply chain is working properly. I'm gaining loss. What I want to do is get more profits from here. So that is what I'm looking at. So I have framed a problem here. Then what you want to do is you want to frame this problem in terms of an analytics problem. So you basically here reformulate the business problem with respect to analytics. You basically develop a proposed set of factors and its relationship to the output, right? So you take those metrics. So let's say if I'm saying with respect to my supply chain, so I know that my problem is with respect to my supply chain, and that is what I'm looking to solve. Then in terms of analytics, you will say, okay, if the problem is with respect to the supply chain, let's look at the metrics which may solve this problem. So we are looking to see how my shipment processing is happening, how my fulfillment is being done, how my products are being stored, and if there is let's say packaging problems or any other problems, and why, if there is faulty goods being delivered, so what is the problem out there. So we take all of those metrics and give them some values. Okay, this might be this much value and that much value. Then you basically have identified what things are to be analyzed in this section. So once you have done that, you gather data with respect to it. So that is the third step. So once you have identified what is the data that you need to analyze and what are the metrics that you are looking at, then you try to get as much as data as possible. And once you get the data, not all of the data will be very usable straight away, right? And not all of the data will have all of the metrics that you need. So some metrics are not quantifiable for that matter. Let's say there is different kinds of time being wasted and different things. Some things are there which you cannot just quantify at all times, so you have to think of ways to solve that as well. That will be done in the next section even though. But why getting the data? So you get a lot of different kinds of data. So let's say if I'm just trying to find out different data with respect to delivery, sometimes people might report faulty data or my rows might be empty. So what you want to do is you want to clean your data. You want to have a well set data which is usable in proper formats. So in this section you basically gather those data, clean those data, and make that data ready for model building. So in the model building section, which is the next one, what you do is with the data that you have, now you have a data set. What you want to do is find out different methods, different statistical ways where you can basically find what the insight is, right? You're looking for that methodology. So once your data is worked on, you basically have to decide which method you have to use for your analysis. And this is decided based on your data and the type of analysis that you want to perform. There some places and in most of the companies they will be doing multiple models. They could be building their custom models, or they will be building some previously made models, something like a logical regression or something like a random forest, or there is some other kinds of statistical formulas. So let's say if I can find a variance, some people just can get their answer from the variance and set variances, and based on that they could have, let's say, some hypothesis with respect to what are there, and they can build and they can try to predict the future, and they can do different things with it, right? You can have multiple metrics and you can have to basically perform a lot of different kinds of things to find out what things are actually affecting the outcome. And once you find that, once you deploy this solution and you form this model and you try to put in as much as data as you want, and you just look at the different graphs that you are producing, just look at the different metrics which are coming out, you basically kind of get, okay, let's say if my supply chain, I found out that when we were storing the the, let's say, the raw material. We were being extremely inefficient, and that led to the entire process being in the manufacturing unit. Everybody has to rush on everything, and they have to quickly do it so that the raw material doesn't get bad, and then it has to be shipped. So we basically have found out that this is a problem with respect to my inventory management. So we can find out different ways that even if we can get raw materials in, let's say, less quantities and then work on it, or we can do something else, and we can find those solutions, and then we can deploy those solutions. So that is the basic idea behind the process of business analytics, right? So that you want to find out what are those metrics that you are looking at in order to solve the problems which exist. That is the simple as that, the idea, right? So with that, we have come to the process section. So let's move on to the next one and talk about career prospects. Now, as I said before, business analytics has been adopted widely in the 21st century. Almost all of the industries which are out there have adopted business analytics. If you want to check, you can just open LinkedIn right now and just search for, let's say, there are different roles which come under it, right? So as I said, this deals with analytics of problems with respect to business. So the job roles which might come under it are, there are business analysts, there are product analysts, there are even data analysts who are also doing analytics with respect to data. Then there is associate product manager, there are PMs, there is data scientists. There are a lot of different things, different people who are involved with it, right? So but majorly it corresponds to people who are doing product analysis, product analyst, and the business analyst. So these are the two people who are the most impacted by it. And then comes data analyst as well as data scientists are also considered in this part. Maybe you can define them in some other sectors as well, but they are, at the end of the day, what they're doing is basically applying those models to solve business problems. That comes under business analytics as well. So let's talk about why you should consider business analytics for your career. So let me make it clear first, like, a career growth in business analytics is extremely good. So if you are someone who can find those problems, solutions to those problems, and if you go to any job interview, let's say in a very good company like Amazon and something, and let's say if you have 3-4 years of experience, the first thing they will ask you is what are the good projects that you have worked on, and what is the metrics that you found out. Those metrics, if you can tell that this metrics I found out and this had this much impact and this changed the way that we looked at things, they will be immediately interested in you. So that is the amount of interest that this has generated, that even one metrics, if you can find out to improve their business, it heavily impacts your career. So and as you go along in the business analyst career, the more experience you get, the more number of problems that you face, you get more idea of how you can solve more problems, and it becomes rapidly easier to have a fast-paced growing career. So this is a very fast-paced career. You have to do a lot of things, you have to solve a lot of problems, but similarly you will get those growth in terms of the salary as well as the job profiles that you will be having throughout the years. So career growth is extremely good in business analytics field. Second is the job abundance. So as I mentioned before, business analytics has been adopted by almost every field, right? So it may be manufacturing, supply chain, IT industry, healthcare, or banking sector, or any other field. They everywhere they are hiring business analysts. If you search on LinkedIn or Indeed or Glassdoor or anywhere right now, you would find out it across domains. Like companies which are related to healthcare are also hiring for business analysts. A good name would be Optum is there, who is hiring for that. And then there is IT and software, almost everybody is hiring. Amazon's, there is always an opening for business analyst. Even now, if you open, you will find Uber is hiring for business analyst. Grofers is hiring for business analyst. Flipkart is looking. Walmart are looking. Everybody is looking. So there will be always a job for you if you are in this field. So if you have experience inside of business analytics field, if you get inside of it, you would always have a job no matter what. Then there are extremely great companies that are hiring. So if you are someone who is looking just for MNCs, there are very great companies which are hiring. There are also various startups which are hiring. So some very good startups in the industry like Misho and others, they are still hiring for business analysts because they need to expand their businesses, right? So these are the companies which are in their earlier stages of being in the industry, and they're doing very well, and this is because of the immense work of their business analysts. So they're looking at things and how they can improve their entire business processes, and they're coming up with very good solutions, and hence these companies are growing and becoming unicorn companies. A good example would be Razorpay. Recently became a unicorn, and that is amazing. That company has been doing very well. So it's down to those people who are doing analytics, and a lot of people are involved. So not just the business analysts, but all of the people who are involved are doing an extremely great job, and that all comes down to solving those problems in those fields. And majorly business analytics people will be involved in that. So that is why you will always have good career opportunities in this field. So that is what I'm trying to specify. If you want to look at the companies which are hiring right now, I have compiled an image for you. So all of these companies are hiring right now. You can check out on any platform that you want to. So Oracle is hiring, Ola is hiring, IBM, Adobe, Google, Apple, Walmart, Siemens, everywhere, Amazon, and a lot of different companies are hiring for business analysts. And basically, if you want to have a career in that, you will always have good opportunities. All you need is good experience and skills, and that we'll be discussing in the next. Through the average salary of business analysts as well. So these are the people who are earning the big bucks. So this is the average number. So this is not the highest or not the lowest, right? So in India, when you're talking about it, you get 9 LPA as the average number. In USA, it's around $100,000, and in UK, it's 55,000. But in India, if we talk about it, you'd also have people who are business analysts at 6 LPA. You'd also have business analysts who are at 18 LPA, 20 LPA, and even higher. And there would be this average, which we have is compilation of all the different jobs which are out there, right? So business analytics, as I told you, is an umbrella term. It has a lot of different fields, like product analysts are there are business analysts, there are data analysts, even sometimes we have considered data scientists as well in this part. Even though we cannot have, for being a data scientist, you need a lot of more skills with than a business analyst. So that could be, if you are a business analyst, so even all the data scientists will be having all the skills of a business analyst. So if you are a data science, if you want to proceed in the data science field also as a business analyst, you can learn different things, and you can suddenly make a move towards that role as well. So that is something which you can do, and that is something that this analytics field will offer you to do. So let's move on and talk about the skills required. So there are what we are going to be mentioning here are the most basic skills that will be extremely necessary. Of course, there will be more skills than the mentioned ones here. Of course, there will be more, but these are the most basic skills without which you cannot enter the field at all. So let me quickly dive into it. First and foremost, what you'd be needing is good mathematical skills. As I told you, you'd be applying different models and you'd be working with a lot of numbers and data. So you have to be good with numbers and mathematical skills. So if you try to interview in good companies which do consulting, like even if it's, let's say, ZS Associates or McKinsey or any other company who is looking for business analysts, they will be having a case study round with you where they'll give you a business scenario. So let's say if X company is launching a drink in let's say a Y region of area, so what are the things that you're looking at, and let's say give me an guesstimate of these numbers, and you have to work with those numbers, right? So you would need to have extremely good mathematical skills when we are talking about entering this field. So this is something that you can build. You can even work with numbers as you go, and it suddenly comes to you very easily. Second thing that you would be needing is strong analytical skills. So as I mentioned before, you have to work with a lot of data and you have to find insights, and to find those insights, to find what solves that problem, you need to have analytic skills. Again, this is something that comes with practice. So the more questions you see, the more problems that you see, the more that you work, you build that intuition to yourself. And this is again something that will be required and will be checked across for any job that you go for. You would be requiring good analytical skills. Other than that, with respect to technologies, this is the basic things that you must have in the bag: SQL and Excel. It is the holy grail of any business analytics jobs which is out there. So this is the most basic thing that will be asking you in every interview which you go for. So SQL queries, even sometimes advanced SQL queries will be asked, has to be done. And Excel for any people who is involved with data analytics or business analytics, or as in the roles of particular roles of data scientist, business analyst, product analyst. These people are looking to work with a huge amount of data, and those comes in the sheets in the form of Excel. So you are looking to learn Excel through and through, and that is something which is very required. The next thing which comes is business acumen is very important. So this goes without saying, since you are solving business related problems, you must understand what kind of business you are in, right? So if you don't understand the business, you would never be able to find out the metrics that will help solve those problems with respect to your business, right? So whatever field you are in, may it be IT sector, may it be healthcare industry, may it be any other field that you are working for, you have to understand the business in order to solve those problems. So that is very important. So having a business acumen, having the knowledge about what metrics affects what, and how having manipulating a few things here and there may impact your business is very important. And for any people who are working with business analytics, have to understand business and must have business acumen. So it is very important that you have that skill as well. The next one is data visualization. So not only SQL and Excel, you would need a data visualization skill also in the bag. This will help boost your resume, because a lot of people that you will be working with will not have, let's say, a programmatical background, or let's say will be very well versed with the metrics that you're talking about, right? So what you have to show them is good graphs and good statistics in the form of graphs, pie charts, or any other kind of visualization, so that they can understand what you're talking about. It's one thing having knowledge and the whole other scenario where you have to discuss it with the stakeholders, because a business analytics guy would be working with a lot of different kinds of stakeholders. He has to tell them what he found out, right? So he has to explain why this is affecting, and that could be done through changing the data into much more easily readable formats, and that you can do through data visualization tools. In particular, people are looking for Tableau and Power BI right now in the market exclusively. So if you're looking to learn, these are the two tools that you should be looking to learn in terms of data visualization. The next comes is the communication skills. So again, as I mentioned before, you will be someone who will be talking to a lot of different stakeholders. So these are the people who may not be statisticians or may not be programming experts. So you'd be saying that variance is this. They might not know what it means. You'd be saying null hypothesis says this. They might not understand, or the regression tells you this. They won't be able to understand those things, right? You have to explain it to them what it's going on. And if with the graphs and charts it becomes easy, but you still have to explain what is going on. You have to work cross domain, right? So you are someone who is in between the stakeholders and the developers. So you have to talk to the developers and the stakeholders and see that there is no gap between those two, right? You are supposed to be bridging those gaps. So it's very important and very crucial that you have good communication skills, and you have to explain them how and why your solution works. So that is the basic skills that you will be need. Other than this, what would actually help you is good statistical knowledge. So if you have good knowledge of statistics, it would be a good factor. Other thing that would help you is the knowledge of programming tools like R and Python. Very, very, very helpful. A lot of companies are looking for people who have the capabilities of Python or R as preferred qualities. And other than that, if you are well versed with machine learning and AI algorithms, you are golden. If you know how to do data modeling, you are golden. So all of these things, if you possess, you would be very easily landing jobs. And this is something which the industry is looking for. So these are the skills required. So I'm not just messing around with these skills. So I have actually gathered a job description from Amazon. So you can see this job description. It will be having all of those things that we were just talking about. So they should have minimum of 2+ years of experience in the analyst field. So this is something that you get through experience. Amazon is looking for that. You must have a bachelor's degree in this domain. What is important, I want to point out here, is that you want to have knowledge of SQL. Hands-on experiences must demonstrate analytical abilities, result-oriented environment, excellent written and verbal abilities, which I mentioned before. And in the preferred qualification sections, you can see if they have better understanding of data modeling concepts and building advanced SQL, fluent R or Python, and advanced Microsoft Office skills, where we mean particularly Excel and analytical platforms. If you have these things in the bag, you are a much preferred candidate. And these are the things which I just highlighted before. So that is what I wanted to get my points across. So these are the most important skills when it comes to having a job in the business analytics field. With that, let's move on and talk about how you can learn in these domains and how you can get started with your career path as a business analyst or a product analyst or in this field of business analytics. So we at IntellIpaat, we understand that an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest, right? So that's why we put out a lot of free content in the form of community, blogs, and YouTube videos. So we have tutorials which are 5, 6 hours long. So you can find out different things that we are posting on the YouTube channel. So please subscribe to us so that you never miss an update, but you can still find out the different things that I just mentioned. You'll find out things about SQL, Excel, Python, everything you'll find on our channel. But if you feel that you'd need more knowledge and you'd need more certification, what I would suggest for you is to enroll with us on a certification course which comes with various industry standards. So that will help you stand out from the others. So that is what I basically wanted to say. So get a feel of it, read different things, learn more with us, and you can basically start with your journey there. And if you find that okay, this is something that you want to do, then what I would recommend is enroll with us so that it becomes easier for you to get those jobs, right? With that, I have come to the end of this presentation, guys. So if you have any queries with respect to this session or any other sessions that we have had, the numbers are on your screen. You can reach out to us for any queries that you want. So with that, I will be taking an off from this session, but now the people who are on a webinar, we will be taking your doubts individually. So put your doubts on the comment window right now or the chat window, and we'll be taking your doubts one-on-one individually right now. For the people who are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.